Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another video. Today we're reacting to DeVory. DeVory, right? Yeah. No, DeVory. DeVory? Darkins. Mr. Darkins. We'll just go with Mr. Darkins. We're reacting to Mr. Darkins. Kamala loses her mind. Gets heckled during church speech. I'm amazed that she even had the fucking balls to go up to a church after in her previous rally she fucking told someone who said Jesus is fucking whatever. They said something about Jesus and she said, "You're at the wrong rally." Like, what? How are you going to show up to a church after saying that shit? And then at the National Republican Convention or the Al Smith dinner, I don't know if they're the same. I know it was the Al Smith dinner. She fucking sent that fucking video mocking Catholics. She has some balls to fucking try to actually go up here and do this shit. But let's get it.
As a nation, we face real challenges. We carry.
Oh, there. It's beginning. It's beginning. You should not have done this shit. This was a fucking mistake on her part. What a dumbass.
Vice President Kamala Harris, she is losing her mind because once again, she's getting booed and heckled, but not just at the campaign rallies. Now it's at church. Yes, she went to a black church today because, again, she's still trying to pander to the black community. She only started to do this towards the end when the polling came out and showed that black people are not buying what she's selling. Anyways,
oh, gee, I wonder why they aren't buying what she's selling, man.
Yeah, she was getting heckled, and we're going to show
real
you
mystery right there.
Fascinating. And there are 2 interviews coming out from Kamala Harris. They haven't released the full interviews yet, but there are a couple of clips I want to address. So why don't we just start with why you clicked on this video. Here is Kamala Harris getting interrupted again during her speech. Watch.
I do believe Paul's message holds great urgency. As a nation, we face real challenges. We carry.
She's seething. She wants to bust out that witch cackle laugh. You can see it. She's seething. Her fucking jawline's already getting all crooked and shit. Fight for democracy, she says. I'm sorry. Didn't you guys chuck out Biden and then replace him with you, the nominee with the lowest voter count? Out of all the other nominees, they chose you for some fucking reason. Even though you were basically dead last for the Democratic Party. But yeah, you want to protect democracy. Sure.
Every voice is important.
You wanted to protect democracy, you'd withdraw and let someone that was actually more
Kamala
popular.
Harris is a walking contradiction to Christian faith, okay? That's the funny thing about this.
It's because she's fucking Hindu. She was raised by her Indian mother in Canada. She's not Christian or Catholic. She's fucking Hindu.
Only in the black community that we would tolerate this, okay? So I definitely want to say that out loud, all right? Now, if you thought that was...
Yeah, like if she fucking came out with a Mexican accent, wearing a poncho and a sombrero, I'd lose my fucking shit, dude. I would lose my shit and call her out as a fucking racist if she did that shit, dude.
Crazy. Wait till you see the most cringiest thing that you could ever see Kamala Harris do.
Oh God, I'm expecting her to say she's Puerto Rican next.
Because, church, I know we were born for a time such as this. And
what happened to separation of church and state?
He is going to carry us forward, and the road ahead won't be easy. It will require perseverance.
Why is she talking like
and
this?
Hard work. But in times of uncertainty, Scripture reminds us, weeping may endure for a night. But joy.
I just realized. Fuck. Her hair is covering her earpiece. She has her hair covering her ears and shit. She learned her lesson.
The path may seem hard, seem heavy, but joy cometh in the morning, and church morning is on its way. God bless you. God bless America.
Yikes. So I say this all the time. I just don't like it when people like Kamala Harris act like they are true churchgoers. Okay.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they have a Christian faith, rolling up into church knowing you support 0 restrictions on abortion. And I'm about to get to that, by the way. And now you want to switch up your accent so you can pander to people in the audience. This is not who you are. You're not a pastor. That's the thing. I don't understand why black people are tolerating this.
I don't understand why black people are fucking ignoring the fact that she prosecuted black single mothers who weren't sending their kids to school because their kids had medical issues and they couldn't attend school full time. Literally out there. I literally saw a video the other day where a black woman was saying that she essentially spent like a year in jail because her daughter had sickle cell anemia and was missing too much school time here in the state of California. So they sent her mom to jail for truancy. And I was like, ain't no fucking way. That's insane. And then to put icing on the cake, the daughter in the hospital had a stroke. And she can't even walk anymore. She's in a wheelchair now. Like, she has a very, very limited movement in her legs to the point where she needs to be in a wheelchair on top of sickle cell anemia. That's just fucking insane. And not having your mom around to comfort you emotionally during all that, that's insane. No, it wasn't a stroke. It was a brain aneurysm. She had a brain aneurysm, which made her fucking condition worse. And it's like, damn, that's fucking just terrible. Here in the state of California, while Kamala Harris was in government, by the way.
It's crazy. It's not for me to put Kamala Harris down, okay? Because she's a human being just like all of us. We all have flaws. I got that. What I'm saying is, can you stop being fake? Just be who you are. You're from San Francisco, okay? You ran on being an American Indian senator, not a black woman. That's facts. That's what the headlines say. That's what the titles say. That's in your own words you said. Getting back to the total contradiction.
Let's not forget her border czar title that she's saying was made up, even though it's in documented legislation.
And that she is. We know she supports 0 restrictions on abortion. And yes, in this upcoming interview, she basically admits that. Watch this.
You do support restrictions after viability.
I support Roe versus Wade being put back into law by Congress and to restore the fundamental right of women to make decisions about their own body. It is that basic.
Women can still make decisions about their own body. It's just no longer federally protected. Now it's a state protection. You can vote on it. It's in the hands of the people. If you truly want this shit, go out and vote for your legislation to pass. What? Like before, it was in the courts, and the courts judge. Like, this is what baffles me, dude. It's like, we don't want the government to tell us what we can do with our own bodies, but Roe versus Wade was literally the government telling you what you can and can't do to your own body. But okay, sure, I guess. I guess I just don't understand the law to that extent. Apparently, I can't make basic
restrictions. With Roe versus Wade, there were restrictions after viability.
We would not be debating this if Donald Trump had not hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention they would undo.
I mean, how do you know that that was their intention? They could have easily voted no. They just happened to vote yes. What?
The protections of Roe v. Wade, and what we have seen as demonstrated last night and every day these last 2 years.
Again, I always come back to this conclusion. Like, I know people in her campaign are telling her, don't answer the question that way. I have to believe they are, because these are smart people. I just don't think she listens to them, or she just can't when the lights turn on. Because to answer that question,
I highly doubt her campaign's actually giving her answers. I can I can 100% believe that this is her campaign's actual answers.
In the way that she did,
considering they had to deal with Joe Biden.
I don't care about any restrictions, and it's Trump's fault. That's not going to work, okay? Yeah. And then the black community, a black church, allows someone like her to roll up and give a speech. I find it funny. Every 4 years, it's the black community going out there and humiliating ourselves, humiliating our culture. We are walking contradictions. I would respect them more if they just sat out this election. I'm not going to demonize people for not voting. If you believe in your religious faith that it doesn't make sense, then don't vote. That's fine. But to really cast a vote for someone who has zero,
I wouldn't say don't vote. I just say vote smarter.
That when it comes to viability, that is murder. That's just it.
Like, don't not vote. Just make your vote based on an intellectual decision, not an emotional one. Look at what both candidates offer and base your decision off of that. Look at the real world issues. Plus, we've had both candidates in office. This is a fucking rare occasion where we can see how both candidates did in office and also base our selection off that. And people are still choosing to do emotional choosing instead of intellectual choosing, voting. Not to mention, people are fucking going nuts now. I literally got a citizen alert that someone planted a fucking bomb in one of the election ballots boxes and another one that set fire to it. And I was like, wow, that is straight up fucking voter tampering, man. That's like the definition of voter tampering. You're tampering with the votes. Which is fucking insane to me, dude, that they'd allow this shit. All because of the fear that Trump might win, even though when Trump won, we had a better economy. Inflation wasn't this high. It was at an all-time low. Gas was fucking $2. $2 gas, dude. $1.50 for gas. And now we're paying like almost $20 for a gallon. It's like, that's insane to me, dude. That's insane that we've seen both candidates in office and we can't even be like, you know what? Let's vote for the one that was clearly better, regardless of whether I like that individual or not.
It's insanity, people. And that's just on the issue of abortion. We're still not talking about the mutilation of children. We're still not talking about putting illegal immigrants before me and you. All right.
Yeah,
so
that's insane to me, dude.
Pretty much.
That's fucking insane to me that my mom, a fucking mother of two, single mother of two that is also a veteran, didn't qualify for fucking food stamps because she supposedly earned too much. And I'm like, Jay, I didn't realize we were loaded with money. What the fuck? Like, what? But the fucking neighbor living in Section 8 that is a fucking illegal immigrant is getting all this financial support from the government. And I'm like, how is that fucking fair? How is that fair? That someone who fought for their country, for the better of their kids, can't even qualify for food stamps, but miss chucking out kids left and right, cheating on her husband, no papers, not even contributing to society, not paying taxes, qualifies for all this aid. That is the most bullshit thing in the planet to me.
Pretty much copying Trump again. She's now in a black Philly barbershop. Watch.
Oh my god. How's everybody doing? Oh my god. She looks so fucking out of place here, dude. They look awkward as shit too. They're like, oh god, why is she
being with us to have this conversation inside the barbershop? Indeed, that's where all the truth gets spoken. That's where the news gets.
I bet you these guys were screened. 100%. These aren't like actual barber folk.
You know, it's a little private.
These aren't barbershop folk. These are 100% paid actors.
Again, I just don't think that she is equipped to be the next president of the United States. Not because she's a woman. It's just because she doesn't have the it, right? You may hate Trump, but you know who he is. You know when he walks into a barbershop, he's not going to switch up his accent. He's not going to go to a church and start trying to talk black. right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be who he is no matter where he goes.
We'll go up there and
That
beat Trump.
Right there, whether you love him or hate him, American people respect that level of authenticity.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He's authentic.
Weakness of Kamala Harris. Now, another weakness of Kamala Harris is on foreign policy. She has no idea what she's talking about as it pertains to foreign policy, especially when you hear the way she answers questions about it. Again, here's her answering a question about Iran's escalating threat in the region.
Israel launched an attack on Iran that has raised fears of a widening conflict in the Middle East. What is your message to Iran?
Well, first of all, do not respond. It would be a mistake. And we are prepared to defend Israel as we have before. We will again. But the critical point is that there must be a de-escalation in the region. And we are working through diplomatic channels and other channels.
You've had 3.5 years, almost 4, to de-escalate.
Is there any indication based on the intelligence that you've seen that Iran wants to respond?
I can't speak to that, but we've been very clear.
They're probably laughing at us.
They should not respond.
They're like,
and that it would be a mistake.
Why would we accept this?
What are the
No.
consequences if they do?
Then our government elects are, oh, sorry, Mr.
You can watch more of Noor's
We'll
with
do
Vice
better
President Harris tomorrow
for
on
the
CBS
oil
Mornings
that you provide
and
us.
on
We'll
the
do
CBS
better.
Evening
We'll do
News.
better. We'll
sitting vice
ensure some
president
other
cannot speak
loopholes
to
in
that.
there.
Now, if you ask Joe Biden that same question, I guarantee you he would give you an answer. Now, he may be rambling and he may be all over the place. He may forget what he said, but he's going to answer the question. Okay? She absolutely just dismisses it outright. Oh, yeah, I can't answer that. Oh, you know why she doesn't want to answer the question? It's because she's a part of the administration that has failed to do any type of retaliation when Iran continued to attack either our own allies or our own soldiers. We know that Iran has become increasingly more wealthy and has
I wonder why.
Because of
Could it be all the
current administration is. So of course she can't.
Could it be all the oil that they have over there that we just gave them a monopoly on? Or would it be all the weapons we left over there for them to just grab?
Answer this question. Now, she has surrogates that are continuing to make excuses for her behavior, her poor performance as it pertains to these interviews. And as soon as that CBS interview drops in full, I will create another video about it. Anyways, I digress. And before I forget, if you're getting value from this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel so we get this out to more people like you and me. If you want to support us further, go to the link in the description below. Grab yourself some merch, or you could buy us a cup of coffee. Now, Mark Cuban, who's fallen from grace, he's absolutely unhinged. He keeps going after Elon Musk and Trump. But here's his excuse on why Kamala Harris is terrible at interviews.
So I've heard you say a couple times that she's not a good salesperson.
Right.
Isn't that important, not just in a campaign, but in being president?
Well, there's different types of salespeople, right? There are salespeople with lousy products that have to oversell. That's Donald Trump. Then there's other salespeople.
I guess to Mark Cuban, growing economy, reduced inflation, reduced taxes is a terrible product. God, why would anyone want their taxes reduced, right? Why would anyone want gas to be $1.50 a gallon? Why would anyone want fucking no taxes on tips earned across the country, no matter what field you're in? If you get a tip, it's not taxed. Why would anyone want overtime to be not taxed up the ass, especially here in the state of California? Why would anyone not want... It's fucking insane, dude. Why wouldn't you want more of your Social Security checked when you retire in your pocket, huh? I mean, you worked for all that money. Why wouldn't you want all of it to be in your pocket instead of it being taxed? As a matter of fact, I thought Social Security wasn't supposed to be taxed because you're retired, dude. Yeah. What's Kamala's product again? An open border, tons of illegal immigrants coming over, taking our jobs and shit for cheaper labor. Minimum wage increasing, but pay still staying the same, if not lower. Because yeah, just insane. Oh, but inflation is down, guys. Inflation is down. Trust me. The Biden administration and the Harris administration, they're bringing inflation down. No, if you actually look at it, inflation is still going up. What's gone down is the rate at which inflation is increasing. That's what's gone down. But inflation has so not decreased. It's just slowed down the rate at which it's been increasing. It's like it's been moving at 5%. Now it's at like 3%. That's just an example. I don't know the actual numbers, but it's still rising. It's not lowering. As a matter of fact, companies are already taking precautions because they think Trump's going to win, just to avoid that huge ass tariff that he's going to implement on them for overseas manufacturing. Like, I don't know what company it was. They were about to open another factory in Mexico for Chinese workers, and they stopped that shit because they think Trump's going to win. And now they're considering opening more factories here instead of overseas, which in my opinion is a good thing. You know, why wouldn't you want jobs created here to boost the economy? You know, help those who can find employment by having these manufacturing companies manufacture their shit here. Like, it's funny because my homie also just texted me. He called me up the other day and he was like, yo, a whole lot of people just got laid off here. All the old heads, they were laid off. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, this person, and even the fucking dude that got you fired got laid off. And I was like, good, fuck him. But I was like, ha. I was like, I knew it was going to happen. They're not like teaching any of the other people that are coming in shit. So why would they keep their jobs? But at the same time, they can also outsource those jobs elsewhere. It's just fucking insane, dude.
Who may not be as boisterous and relentless, but know that they have a great product so they don't have to be boisterous and relentless. That's Kamala Harris.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Democrats have controlled the country 12 out of the last 16 years. You're claiming that she has a better product than the Republicans? Stop it, okay? This is the fundamental difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. The Democratic Party historically has been the better party at selling their shitty product, okay?
Yeah, I agree.
The Republican Party, on the other hand, they have a far superior product. They've just been very shitty at selling it. So
yeah,
I'm not buying that whatsoever. I mean, Mark Cuban, come on, guy. Come on.
To be fair, it's always in politics.
She'll never be a salesman.
That's why.
No one buys anything that she's selling. They don't even buy what you're selling. Because you're a walking contradiction too. Okay, I think I'm done ripping Kamala Harris and her campaign, and let's get into some numbers, right? There's really two things I want us to take a look at. Mark Halperin, okay, who's the owner of the Two-Way app. He's a phenomenal commentator now at this point, and he provides great insight on the state of the race. Let's hear what he has to say.
There's signs that things are getting very tense on both sides. It's asymmetrical, and you hear me talk about it all the time, the asymmetries. Republicans think they're going to win on social media, at Mar-a-Lago, members of Congress. That produces a different set of dynamics. I'll say again, the race is close. It shifted towards Trump, but abortion rights, women voters, superior financing and ground game, and Trump fatigue, no one should say the race is over. No one. But you can't ignore what we're seeing in the data. You can't ignore what we're seeing in the body.
We're getting close to the end days.
We've talked about all the various manifestations and down ballot.
Now we're starting to see the actual voter
becoming
fraud
an increasing issue. How Democrats want to close this contest.
Sabotaging the ballots.
We're running separate from Kamala Harris. Is becoming an increasing problem for Democrats.
That is a very fair assessment, because at the end of the day, none of us truly know without a doubt who's going to win. All right. But we do know right now, the polling, the numbers have all shifted towards Trump. That's number one. Number two, Trump clearly has the momentum. He is dominating social media. He's still dominating the media. I mean, the Beyonce rally is almost an afterthought at this point.
Oh, yeah.
She's in Madison Square Garden, sold out.
They called Beyonce and she didn't even perform.
So,
that's hilarious.
and that Madison Square Garden rally, it's like an RNC part 2. This is really what's happening. So he knows what he's doing, to say the least. And I think he's going to make sure that he has the last word and the attention of the country heading into Election Day. And when you're hearing that down ballot, meaning senators and House of Representatives who are incumbents, not actually showing their support for Kamala Harris in their campaign ads, but showing their support for Trump in their...
I mean, I just saw, I got a fucking notification on Ground News that two people quit the LA Times because the LA Times isn't endorsing Kamala. And and I was like, wow, that's sad and pathetic. And then I saw that the Washington Post, I think it was, or the New York Times, one of those two, is now endorsing Trump. And everyone was like, what? That's a shocker, because y'all were like shitting on him for the longest time. And now they're supporting him, which is fucking hilarious to me.
Their campaign ads. I know it sounds crazy. Clearly, polling is saying that she's having trouble in these battleground states. And one of the biggest things that I think stands out in this election that we didn't see in 2020 and 2016 is the possibility that Trump could win the popular vote. Watch this.
One thing we have noticed in the last couple of days, this is not all of the polls that are out there now, but we have seen a number, 4 in the last 4 days, that have shown very small, but in the context of this close race, potentially meaningful movement in Trump's direction. I don't want to overstate it, but at the same time, it's hard to ignore these 4. The CNBC poll came out the other day, has Trump ahead by 2. The Wall Street Journal poll, Trump ahead by 3. These are national numbers. Siena and the New York Times, a tied race. CNN, a tied race. The significance here is broader movement.
I don't trust these news outlets, not going to lie.
But what is happening nationally? Well, we can show you from the CNBC poll. They picked up on something that our own NBC poll was suggesting recently, and that is a shift in the image of Kamala Harris. You can see right now in the CNBC poll, 42 positive, 48 negative, higher negative than positive. That's where Trump is too, largely 39, 49. The significance is about a month ago when we were polling this, Harris had a higher positive than negative. In our poll, in the CNBC poll, in other polls out there right now, you see Harris now
CNBC,
with that negative going back above that positive.
I don't trust any of these news outlets.
Now, not everybody knows the science behind elections, but one of the biggest things that's easy to understand is something called low propensity voters. These are voters or people who never vote. That's really what it is. And the objective of the Trump campaign is to bet their money on people like that. Their whole ground game, everything they've been doing up to this point, it's not just about getting the initial base to turn out, but people who otherwise wouldn't have voted. This is what he did in 2016, by the way, and why the polls were so off, because low propensity voters showed up for Trump. And so the big if, like Steve Kornacki said, is will they do it again? Obviously, this election can be very complicated if you think about everything that's happened up to this point just in 2024. It's also simple, on the other hand, which is this. Immigration is a problem to most Americans. Kamala Harris loses on that. Inflation, the economy, cost of living, that's been a problem to most Americans. 70% of America thinks we're going in the wrong direction. So she loses on that too. Foreign policy, Israel, Hamas, Ukraine, and Russia. She loses on that too.
They haven't done shit other than send over money.
So,
but when Hurricane fucking Helen hit North Carolina, we only had $750
to every single corner of this country come out and vote
not even
for her
enough
nonstop.
For grocery run for like
and she
two
blows
families.
Donald Trump out of the water. And currently, right now, early voting does not show that. That women that have been early voting, it's a little bit less than it was in 2020. So we haven't seen any indication that that is the case. Now, on the other hand, you could also see, like I just stated, where Trump is going to get people who would have never voted for him. But since the 2 assassination attempts, they've changed their mind. All this lawfare, it's changed their mind. Then, including the people who are already going to vote for him. And then you got the people who are just fed up with the nonsense from the Democratic Party. The wokeness, the attack on our children, the open borders, right? The censorship, all of these things. There's a lot of people that don't like Trump, but they definitely do not like what the Democratic Party has done and what they've become. They also are going to show up and vote either for Trump or third party, and that's not going to be good for Kamala Harris. So that is my opinion. What do you guys think about Kamala Harris showing up to a black church, pandering to black people again, switching up her accent? I want to know what your thoughts are about that. What about this upcoming CBS interview? I showed you a couple clips from that. Clearly, she has no answers for foreign policy. And don't let me forget, that whole heckling at the church. I mean, I get the campaign rally. Now she's getting heckled at church. I mean, what's going on here? Now, I've been telling you guys that Kamala Harris is a weak candidate. And the best way I can illustrate that in another way is by having you watch my video on J.D. Vance and how he just manhandled CNN Jake Tapper, okay? And the reason why I'm drawing this contrast, because you're going to see in that interview what you would want in your presidential candidate, but he's the vice president nominee. And he performs better in interviews than Kamala Harris.
Yeah, he's very well articulated.
Check out that video. You can click on it because it's coming up
well articulated
right now.
Yeah. Yo, that is fucking still insane that after someone said Christ is savior or some shit and saying, oh, you're at the wrong campaign rally, I think you should go to the smaller one, is fucking insane to me, dude. And then she does that shit. I'm like, bro, you got a lot of nerve. Then her fucking Al Smith video where she makes fun of the fucking Catholics. You got a lot of fucking nerve, dude. A lot of fucking nerve. But yeah, let me know what y'all think on this fucking shit show, dude. The hypocrisy and double two-facedness of the Democratic Party and their campaigning right now. Like, oh god, it's fucking... Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this little reaction video. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.